Today we are going to do some problem solving that involves fractions. Fractions are parts of a whole, or part of a whole. So you always consider fraction as a part that has a whole to it. The problem we are going to be solving says, Kennedy has 1/4 of a donut. So she has a piece of donut that is the size of 1/4 of a whole donut. She gets more pieces of donut. Now she has 3 times as much donut as she originally had. So she got some more pieces, and now total she has 3 times as much donut as she originally had when she had that 1/4 of a donut. How much of one donut does Kennedy have now? Okay, so to represent the 1/4 of a donut that Kennedy has, I'm going to use some counters. I'm going to use white to represent the 1/4 that she does have, and I'm going to use red to represent the rest of the donut that she doesn't have. So the white is our part of the donut that Kennedy has, and the red represents the rest of the whole donut. Kennedy doesn't have a whole donut, but we're counting in terms of whole donuts, and she has 1/4 of one whole donut, the size of one whole donut. She has 1/4 the size of one whole donut. So we realize that 1 is what Kennedy does have, 1/4, but the total, the whole, is 1 donut. So 1/4 is 1 out of 4. So it says next that she gets more pieces of donut, and now she has 3 times as much donut as she had originally. So if she had 1 originally and she ended up with 3 times as much as she had, that means I know she got 2 more to where she had 3 pieces of donut that were the size 1/4 of a whole donut. Although she got these 2 pieces, the size of one whole donut remains the same if we're talking about fourths. So we can switch these out, because now I know Kennedy has 1/4 of a donut plus 1/4 of a donut plus 1/4 of a donut, and the size of one whole donut is still 4/4. So I know that the answer to this question is Kennedy now has 3/4 of one donut. Let's use a different strategy to see if our answer is still correct. I'm going to use this green strip just to represent one whole donut. That's one whole. And next, I remember that Kennedy started with 1/4 of a donut. Then I know that Kennedy got 3 times that much, so she should have 1, 2, 3. 3 times as much as she originally had. So I know that I started with 1/4 of one whole. This is the length 1/4, and this is the length 1 whole. And I know that I started with the length 1/4 if we're representing it linearly, and that my new length of how many pieces I have now, or that Kennedy has now, is the size 3 times the length of her original amount of donut. And if I add these together, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, I know that that's 3/4. So again, I know that the answer to this problem is 3/4 length of size length 1 whole donut.